Yes, we are live. Hello. I hope that everyone can hear me right now. We are right now starting with the info session. Hello, everyone. I hope that you can hear us today. So
Hello.
we are with hello. So we are with Rahel with our XR Bootcamp team, and we will answer any questions and help you guide your career and about XR and VR AR. And yeah, these 30 minutes we will have an info session. We will give some information about the classes, courses, and we will also tell us our perspective, how we are bringing people from beginner level to become XR prototyper and developer. So maybe in the meantime, Rahel, you can share your screen, or I can share as well.
Sure, I can share.
Perfect. So let's wait a few more minutes before starting, because everyone is right now coming to this channel. So let's wait for maybe 2 minutes. Hello, everyone. I'm already seeing some people already start joining. Okay, maybe whenever you share screen, I will be able to see, or I can share screen.
I'm trying. There's just
Perfect. By the way, in around 25 minutes, we will have the recent graduates. You will listen to them how they achieved to become an XR prototyper or developer in 4 months. They will share tips and tricks and lessons learned for around their career. So how they reach to the level that they can actually now start prototyping and even apply for jobs. In addition to that, we have also industry experts who will give feedback to their projects and prototypes, and they will also give some maybe tips about how to break into XR industry either as a senior or as a junior. So we will also make sure that they will answer some of your questions. So feel free to ask your questions on the YouTube stream. You can directly start already asking questions. We will, especially in the next 20 minutes, we will really give a lot of time for your questions. The experts who will join shortly is people from Shapes, XR200, people who worked at Facebook, McKinsey, Anglo American, and Autodesk. So we have a great lineup today, in addition to our graduates. So quite exciting times.
yes, definitely. I'm looking forward to that. I also hope it says processing right now. So do you see that it says processing?
No, but I can also try from my side.
I hope everyone who is watching has already subscribed to our free C# with Unity course we just launched actually last week. If you just want to get an insight into how it is to basically work as a virtual reality developer, you can do that by basically just signing up for our C# with Unity course, which is a self-paced course for 4 weeks. And it gives you more background on if this type of career is the best one for you. And you can basically challenge yourself, learn a lot in 4 weeks, and everything without any obligations. So I'm inviting you to check that out on our website. Yeah, thanks for sharing. Ferhan, is that you sharing now, or is that me?
Yes, me.
It's me?
No, me, myself.
Okay.
I'm perfect.
Okay, great.
So you can start. I think we have enough people right now. So please tell us from which city you are joining today, because we always have people joining from different
Yes,
countries,
you probably
cities.
know we are an online academy, so we really hope to always have students, and we always usually have students actually from all around the world, as much as we can manage the time zones for the different people. But yeah, I mean, we have also like a lot of free events, which you can all find under xrbootcamp.eventbrite.com or looking on our website. And that's always like we have different event series. One is behind the scenes, which is more an advanced level XR developer type of content events, where we invite really high level, senior level developers, such as Julia Schwartz, for example, as you can see there. Or we have the second type of events, that's unboxing XR dev careers. And in unboxing XR dev careers, it's more like events which are targeting more beginner level VR AR developers, where senior level developers are also hiding their not hiding, they are sharing their basically secrets about how to best go about having a career in the VR AR developer world. So yeah, do you want to go to the next slide, Fan?
By the way, we have a lot of comments coming up right now. We have participants from Iowa, Costa Rica, South Africa, Florida. So feel free to share your city, so we would at least understand if you are in the morning time, evening time, and where you are calling us today.
That's amazing. Yeah, really, really cool. And share also, like, if you're more beginner level or more an advanced level developer, that would also be super cool to know for us. And so basically for us, why we have actually founded XR Bootcamp is because Fern and me, we are working in the VR AR industry already since 2015. Such a long time to build a very, very big and large network, which we are happy to actually connect you with, as long as you're coming to XR Bootcamp, of course. And this network is super important to not only to learn better, because you can get mentors from any type of vertical or any type of industry you want, but also to just share your learning journey and to connect with others. And it's always much easier when you're not alone, but learning and advancing and succeeding together with a large community, and with also as a very close-knit community. And for us, what we've seen over the last years is what really helps if you want to have a great career in XR is that you need to have a portfolio, and you need to have worked on your own projects, so that you basically know from A to Z how does it work, how can I actually build portfolio projects, and also to learn how to showcase them to recruiters, because that's what recruiters are looking for. Sometimes we get the question, do I get a certificate at XR Bootcamp? Yes, you do. But for us, that's really not the important part. The important part is that you have a successful career, and that you get a job that you really, really love and that you enjoy a lot. So, and that's why the portfolio projects are super important, because there you can already choose what is basically your target skill, what's your what do you basically want to work in? What kind of career do you want to have? And then you can basically work on that accordingly and get feedback from all our mentors, trainers, etc. So yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. We are really focusing on portfolio project creation. And in our prototyping course, for example, which is part of the Full Experience Bootcamp, you're creating 4 prototypes and 1 MVP. And basically the MVP is then really your North Star project, your project you can showcase everywhere afterwards. But the prototypes as well, of course. But since you have only a few weeks on each of them, the MVP, you will spend more time. So for us, basically, for XR Bootcamp, we have, as I said, we have from this beginner level. You can really learn actually for free in the beginning with the C# coding with Unity course, which basically makes you more aware if this is a career you would like to take, which is very important. And then you can basically sign up once you've passed that. You can sign up for the XR Foundations Bootcamp. Of course, if you already know coding before, we are happy to accept you to the XR Foundations Bootcamp without taking the coding course beforehand. And then you're automatically also advancing to the prototyping bootcamp. and then you're basically ready for the job. But if you really want to go for the AAA experience, for the super, super advanced stuff, please feel free to check our master classes as well, where you can learn basically more about VR interactions, rendering optimization. We are also launching a HoloLens mixed reality masterclass next year in January. And yeah, there's lots of stuff to discover. So yeah, I think I already talked about that. Maybe you can advance, Jan. So yeah, I mean, we already launched 10 different masterclasses and courses, and all our students are very happy with us, and I'm very, very happy as well that that's the case, because our students' success is obviously our success. And yeah, we always also like to keep in contact with all our students in our XR Creators Discord channel and community as well. And there's many students which also write us afterwards that they got a different job because of the portfolio projects they created with us. And that it was really, even though, especially for the advanced level people, that may be interesting, that, I mean, there's not so many advanced level courses out there, right? So what we did is we went to the most advanced senior level exciting projects we found about VIR and asked the creators, do you want to create a class with us? And we were lucky, and there's a few of these trainers, which you can see obviously with us, teaching with us. They accepted, and they are basically teaching very advanced level Unity skills, very advanced level VR development skills, and where you can basically learn, even though you already have maybe worked years in the industry. Yeah, just go on. So, and our alumni are really coming from all types of companies. So that's maybe also a point to mention, that your network you're building while taking our classes may even lead to a future career opportunity. And of course, also, expands your horizon by learning how other developers from different types of companies, from different types of verticals, are approaching different types of development problems and or challenges. And we're proud to say that, I mean, really, from global and very diverse companies, students are coming to us. Yeah, Fern, do you want to share more details? But are there already questions, actually? Because we like to, we don't want to talk so much. We actually want to answer questions.
Yeah, let's a little bit take questions. We also have new people from India, Seattle. They are talking about our programs. I don't know if anyone already started our free course here. We call it XR Genesis, which is the birth of maybe your own career. So we want to make sure that you get this class before breaking into the more complex stuff. First, understand the coding in a very actually enjoyable way as well. So let me, in the meantime, let me give a little bit of what we are aiming at, right? So as Rahel mentioned, we first invite you, if you don't have any coding experience, if you are artist, designer, that you have never learned any type of coding before. So it is not a problem, because we have this coding course. It's an enjoyable, actually 4 weeks free course that you can break into today. Actually, our team will share Discord link both on the YouTube channel and on the Discord server of Global XR Conference. So I invite you to join our Discord server, XR Creators Discord server. Over 2,100 XR experts and developers, like-minded people there that you can connect with today. And you can already start taking the C# course today. If you already become successful at that 4 weeks course, then we are inviting you to Foundations Bootcamp. Foundations Bootcamp is, first of all, teaching you the spatial computing mindset, the XR development mindset, but most of important part is how to learn the XR foundation skills, because keep in mind that this is an industry that grows very fast, rapidly evolving. Things are changing. Updates are coming every 3 to 6 months. So you have to somehow keep up with the pace of the industry, and you need to somehow hack your way through in this industry. So in order to achieve that, we are also creating a project-based curriculum in this foundations bootcamp. So you are actually creating a robots game with the foundations bootcamp, and in the meantime you are learning basics of unity, and on top of that you are learning the VR toolkits that you will need while prototyping, and of course more scripting skills to make sure that you can actually publish your project, either it's a game or enterprise app. So this is very important for us. It is a 2 months program, this foundations bootcamp, and it teaches you everything you need as a skill so that you can start prototyping. So the next stage is the prototyping bootcamp. Basically, we are providing an opportunity, a supervised environment for you to prototype in a short period of time. So we want you to actually iterate fast, fail fast in a supervised, safe environment with the like-minded people. And every week you are creating one prototype about one different use case. You will see these prototypes, by the way, today, how someone can manage to create one XR prototype on top of their full-time job. You will see that today with the students that or graduates that recently graduated literally a few weeks ago. And you will also see how they are actually building on top of their foundation skill. And this prototyping bootcamp is again 2 months program. First month is 4 weeks, right? 4 weeks, 4 prototypes, and in the second month you are creating an MVP, like a little bit more polished and more final version of a prototype, like so that you can even pitch to your, I don't know, potential recruit or company lead, boss, your client. And this time you are not alone. You are working with other team members and learning how to work in a XR based studio, content creation studio, solution provider studio, and understand what it takes to work on a team-based format in a sprint-based setting. Because we, maybe you have seen a lot of boot camps or academies around the world which are great in terms of teaching tools or some specific skills, but what we are aiming here is to prepare you for your next project, XR project, for your next XR job, XR freelance role, XR freelance project. And in order to achieve that, we have to make sure that at the end of this prototyping bootcamp, you are self-capable of creating your own XR projects and realizing your own XR use cases and ideas. That is actually the biggest takeaway from this prototyping bootcamp. But no matter what we are telling right now, maybe it will look like a little bit like a, I don't know, like a promotion. So I really want you to listen to the recent graduates from their words, and you may even ask them some questions today. So let them express you how they actually manage as a designer, as a developer, start this program, and then achieve these 4 prototypes and 1 MVP. I will not show this today. I want to really let the students show their own projects, but please maybe like wait for, I don't know, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, because our groups are coming in a bit and they will share the project with you. So I mean, in terms of the projects based format, we want to make sure that after every class, you are not only finishing the modules, but you are finishing a capstone industry level project. And keep in mind that every week you will have assignments from easy, medium, hard levels that you can push yourself. And most probably you will get stuck, at least in the hardest assignment, right? And we are there for you. We will be on Discord with like a asynchronous unlimited support, and you can ask anytime to our mentors. Since it's project based, you will always deal with project based problems or deployment based problems, in addition to the unity and skills advancement. That is the most important part. So what is our philosophy? This is something that maybe that it might be interesting for you. Maybe some of you already learned some of the things from Twitter, from podcasts, Reddit. There are lots of nice YouTube videos, Udemy videos that you can reach. I think they are amazing in terms of bringing you the foundational content. But in order to make you employable and prepare for the industry, we believe that cohort-based system always better, so you can actually fast track your upskilling and your experience. There are even some senior level people joining our prototyping bootcamp because they want to practice more. You know, they want to fail fast in a short period of time. Like, think of like you are doing hackathon every week, you know, and this is extremely valuable to gain experience. And in addition to that, at the end of the day, you are having a portfolio that you are proud of and that you can utilize for your job hunting and interviews, right? That is the most critical part. That's why our cohort-based mindset is we are starting this learning journey together. We are learning together, failing together, implementing together, uh, peer-to-peer mentoring together, and we are finishing the project together. And then after that, we are graduating, that you will witness today. So these are the programs. Maybe there are some people who are also interested on advanced classes. After this prototyping, it's much more intermediate and advanced level programs. As you see, 2022 is quite busy, more than 2021 for us. And there are actually multiple cohorts. So if your time schedule is not fitting, you can easily join to the second one. All the details are at XR Bootcamp. I think our friends will share that on YouTube and on the Discord server as well, in addition to the our Discord link. So you can actually reach us, or you can look at the exact details of each program and inquire curriculum about that. And one thing maybe that's also interesting is maybe scholarship part that we will talk a little bit about HoloLens class as well, which I'm now starting to a little bit mention about that. So basically, we are working with AWE. I don't know if you know Augmented World Expo, one of the biggest XR events in the industry. And we are starting HoloLens and Mixed Reality Masterclass on 17th of January with them. And we work with the top level trainers again, who already created the official documentation of Microsoft HoloLens, who already become the partner of Microsoft Mixed Reality programs, and even create support toolkit development as well, including MRTK as well. So if you are already knowing Unity a little bit, because you need to have a fundamental understanding of Unity, and if you want to break into mixed reality, this is a perfect opportunity for you. And advanced way interactions. The people behind the hand physics lab is giving this course. Dennis Kühnert, maybe you know from hand physics lab if you played the game on Oculus. And this remote course is also giving a lot of skills, but much more advanced skills in terms of holographic UI, complex interactions, physics-based interactions. So if you have something that you really want to deal with interactions, and if you want to explore the next generation of human-computer interaction with hand UI, hand tracking, and physics-based interactions, as well as immerse kinematics, this is a perfect program for you. I think we have one video. I think this hand physics lab video, I can maybe quickly show this. Yeah, sorry. So this is basically the project of our trainers, the game of trainers. Are you hearing the sound now? Sound? By the way, Deniz Künert and Hand Physics Lab won 2 OGI awards a few weeks ago. Now they are an award-winning studio and creators, both on the Best Game Award and Best Indie Creator Award. It is one of the biggest awards that, as we know of, in terms of the XR industry, and we are really proud of our trainers. So our goal is to bring these award-winning and master trainers to your learning experience and let them share their immense experience with you as much as they can. So we are helping beginner level people, even for the beginner bootcamp, they are also supervising the program. So we are really glad that we are working with these leading experts in the field. So we have good news. Maybe Rahel, would you like to share a little bit about the scholarship before we move to the others?
Yeah. I mean, as Johan already mentioned, so basically we have a total scholarship funding available of $10,000, and we are splitting that across our courses and, of course, different people to basically reach and enable more and more diversity and accessibility, of course, of these types of courses, and of course also of our basically career level support. And that's available for basically the XR Bootcamp, the full experience, which means learning about XR foundations, getting the XR prototyping, plus also then the career support. And then also, if you're interested and a mid-level developer, you may also be able to apply for the HoloLens and mixed reality masterclass. There was just a question popping up. I didn't see that. Can you repeat? Did you see that, Fern?
Yeah. I'm actually controlling everything. So Shkumbuza Dilomo wrote about about us, like he's a mid-world builder. Hernando give a comment.
He's asking, right? I'm seeing that. Do you have people working from other countries at all?
Yeah.
I'm not so sure what you mean with other countries. So we are based in Germany, and we have a lot of students from all around the world. So other countries definitely. Definitely not all countries yet.
But yeah,
I hope we are going to go there.
Yeah, we have trainers from Canada, US
community.
Yeah, we have trainers from Canada, US, Europe, different parts of the world. So
I mean, the amazing thing that's really like remote working friendly, right? So there's so many freelancers working from anywhere, from the beaches of the world, and enjoying their time basically, and building new virtual worlds. And the free C# coding with Unity course is self-paced. Right now, basically, if you start this week, you're going to be the first cohort, and we are inviting everyone to also join the weekly Discord server. So basically, for each week, we have a different Discord channel, and then you can basically ask your questions week by week. So it's always better for the motivation to basically go with the speed of everyone. So if you join now, maybe you can finish week 1 with everyone, and then also move along with the first group of people who joined. But of course, it's self-paced. There's no one who is really pushing you to do the assignments at a certain date. So it's self-paced. Take your time if you need.
I mean, one thing that I can share is keep in mind that you need to either show your coding skills or you need to finish the pre-bootcamp C# course before taking foundations, right? So in order to fit to the schedule of the foundations bootcamp, we recommend that you finish the class, this 4 weeks class, before January 10. So it's a 4 weeks class, but it can be also consumed maybe full time if you commit even in 1 week. But we always recommend that you digest very well in 4 weeks time. So just keep in mind that try to finish the C# course before coming to the foundations bootcamp if you have no coding knowledge before. Okay, that is the critical thing in terms of pacing. Otherwise, yeah, we will be happy to see you on Discord for this free course. Yeah, we already get one feedback about the foundations, sorry, the C# course. Yes, there is a math game that you are actually building on Unity by the skills that you are learning. So it is basically you are learning coding in Unity or with Unity. So we want to make it as playful as possible and enjoyable as possible. So just to give you a glimpse of what you will face with in the XR creation journey.
Math game sounds scary, no?
Yeah.
But I heard it's not so bad. So
yeah, Math Monster, yeah. So France, we have Adrian, CJ also joined us, South Africa. So we have one more question left, then we can start actually without further ado, because I'm seeing all our students and also some of our experts, industry experts here. So does the XR prototyping course include multiplayer development or have you considered it for the future? That is actually very interesting. I think our team will share on YouTube, our YouTube channel, both in this YouTube stream, and they will share on Discord server of Global XR conference, because we have just finished one multiplayer framework workshop. This is also free. You can watch that. And there is also another workshop coming with Unity. I will reveal maybe more details in the Discord server in the upcoming weeks. But I can tell you that multi-user interaction, especially network physics, is very critical. It's a little bit advanced topic, to be honest, but it's a very important topic. And to be honest, you will see today is some of our beginner level and foundations bootcamp graduates already started using multiplayer frameworks, which we were not expecting that level, but yeah, we will see about that. Let them tell more about how they managed to build that in a short period of time. Perfect. So I think the time is, I think we can start the from zero to hero lessons learned session. I will, we have, I think, enough people. I will, first of all, invite our jury members or industry experts before starting the pitches of each graduate. So Joe and Mark with us. Hello, Joe. Hello, Mark.
Hello,
Can you
everybody.
hear us?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. So Joe is really very. I mean, for the last 2 years, I think we are really talking and working together. And now he's working at Tilt 5 It is actually an amazing platform. I will leave the stage to you, Joe. Maybe you can a little bit mention about yourself and Tilt 5, and what are you looking for in terms of developers and community creators for your own platform?
Cool. Thanks for the quick intro, Farhan, and good to see you, Rahel. And amazing to see so many visitors today from all around the world. So as Farhan mentioned, before I was with Tilt 5, I had a chance to work closely together with the team at XR Bootcamp. And I'm just so impressed to see how the curriculum and the content has continued to improve and evolve just over this last year. So congrats to the XR Bootcamp team, and happy to see everyone here. So a little bit of background. I worked previously at The Void, kind of a location-based VR company. I've worked in VR esports and like event organization before Tilt 5. I was at Magic Leap, and then now I'm at Tilt 5. Tilt 5 is tabletop augmented reality, and we're very much kind of hardcore focused on gaming applications. We use kind of a unique approach to augmented reality with, it's called a retro-reflective game board, a play mat that sits flat on your table, and then with your AR glasses connected to your computer, able to kind of see into the table and see holograms essentially, or digital content popping off of your table. Tilt 5, we have a couple things that might be interesting to some of you, particularly if you're into kind of game development space. We have the Tilt 5 game dev program, which is specifically for indies, and we're trying to find, you know, talented developers and game devs with games that they're trying to find audiences for. There is marketing and development funding for that, and kind of a nice application process just on the tilt5.com website. But mostly I'm interested here to, you know, see your ambitions and your interests in XR space and kind of what your projects are that you're looking to get into. And I'm just happy to be here, connect with you. And please, if you have any questions after the session, like feel free to DM me on Twitter or on LinkedIn, and happy to give you any kind of insights or direction or help make connections where I can. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you. It's very nice to see you. I think these events are the perfect way to see each other in this kind of very busy months, right? Thanks for joining in your busy schedule.
Yeah.
Mark, can you hear us? Mark is also actually, his team has taken some of our advanced courses as well, and he has a great experience in terms of Facebook, Autodesk, Virtuo. So, Mark, stage is yours. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Thanks, Farhan. I've had the pleasure of working with Farhan at Virtuo Entertainment, which has since pivoted to Virtuo Technology, sort of broadening its reach into AR, VR, all things XR. So I'm super excited to see what people are doing after they've experienced the XR Bootcamp. Our team experienced it with about half dozen people. We won some awards in our bootcamp run. It was super exciting, and I think all of our developers learned a lot about how flexible Unity is, especially when you know the tips and tricks that Farhan and his team know. And we've been able to use that to create healthcare training applications, job interview applications, including some games for VR, most recently on Oculus Go. I myself have kind of taken that work into working with the Oculus Quest and Quest 2. Before all the Autodesk and Virtuo and work elsewhere outside the gaming industry, I had worked for about a couple, a dozen at least years in games for companies like EA. It's really exciting to see what's happening in the XR space with respect to entertainment these days. So speaking of indie game development, Joe, I'm definitely knee deep in that right now. So I'm very excited to see what Tilt 5 is doing.
Bless you, man. Yeah.
Super cool. It's kind of a heyday for indie gamers again, which is super awesome to see. So thanks for including me, Farhan. We certainly enjoyed the experience in the bootcamp, and I think our developers are much better for it. Oh, you're muted, Farhan.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. Yeah, I'm trying to get used to the StreamYard UI, but yeah, it's good right now. Thank you, Mark, for joining us today. So Andre is with us today as well. Andre, can you hear us? I don't know if he can hear us now, but maybe we can have the introduction from him later, because we have also a few more industry experts who will.
Yes, I can.
Perfect.
Hello.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Hello, Andre.
Great to be here, and thanks for inviting me over, Ferhan. I'm looking forward to hear from all participants. Unfortunately, I got caught on my commute, but I will be at my table like in 15 minutes, but I'm here and listening to everyone. I can briefly introduce myself. So I'm Andre Lune from Forest Ventures. I'm a venture partner responsible for investments in extended reality, augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D visualizations, all things spatial, digital. And I hate this word recently, metaverse, because like we used to use it for so many years, and now it's kind of stolen. Yeah, so, but we invest there as well. I'm looking forward to hear from all participants and join the discussion a little bit later.
Perfect. By the way, for those who haven't heard of, XR Crowd is one of the, as far as we know, one of the most influential community, especially after COVID hit. We joined forces with all our industry leaders like Andre, and he actually lead us to create some kind of like a backup plan for physical events and for other events. And we are actually having different XR events happening there. Feel free to join to XR Crowd. I'm sure Andre will share more details in the
Thank
upcoming
you for
minutes.
that warm introduction. Yeah, Ferhan, I didn't mention that, but yeah, we've been in touch since VR first and a very long time during those conferences. Yeah, indeed. Like for me, social VR is one of the major features that VR can offer to the people, and this is the largest business opportunity in my opinion as well. So I'm also excited about how things unfold. And well, it's very unfortunate course of events with COVID, but it is what it is. So we have to address this.
We survived somehow, right? Together.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect.
So
Thank you,
looking forward
Andre.
to the conversation.
Yeah, perfect. I mean, there are a few projects that I really need your perspective there, especially on the social experience part. We will get into that. So I know that everyone is waiting for the projects. So for our team members, how we will proceed? First, we will invite the skyboarding team members. So the game room team, we will, I may remove you from the stream, but don't worry. Whenever the skyboarding finish, I will add you, since there's a limit of 10 in this StreamYard platform. Just make sure that whenever I say game room is become ready, so please just to let you know, okay? I'm talking with Thomas and Sadiq. So yeah, okay, so I will give the stage to Skyboard team. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure that I'm doing correctly. Remove from stream. Okay, now add to stream. Perfect. So here is the skyboarding team. Of course, first of all, we will do introduction. And in the introduction, I will let you to also share your screen with your prototypes. Just before starting and giving stage to you, just to let you know that, as you remember, in the prototyping phase, every student had only 1 week on top of their full-time job or study to finish their project. So the projects that you will see right now has only been done in maybe in 15, 20 hours of commitment on average. So I just want to let you know that for us, the critical part is scoping, learning, and actually gaining experience and iterating fast rather than the end result. we didn't expect any polished result there. We just wanted to make sure that they understand the spatial design mindset. So I will leave, let's make the order from Joseph, Alvin, and Emma. Okay, so we can start. And Joseph, you can share your screen. You know how to share screen. Is it clear on your interface? If you can't, I will also help you, but it's better that everyone already look into that. By the way, our industry experts already seeing your presentation right now, so they can already hop in. Just let me know any of our trainers, industry experts want to take stage. So let me.
Okay. And are we showing our personal project first, or the
Yeah.
project?
The MVP project is after you finish, three of you finish the introductions. Okay.
Okay, and that's including our projects then, our personal ones.
Exactly, your personal project. So every person have a few minutes to explain what they are doing, what is their background, how was your learning journey. I mean, we have 5 minutes each. I guess we can finish afterwards.
Okay. All right. So go ahead and start now, or is there anything else we're waiting?
Yeah, please share screen.
Okay. All right. So my name is Joseph Roberts. I joined the XR Bootcamp prototyping. Bootcamp, I actually came in after the foundations course. I came in rather quickly when I had seen this was an opportunity that I really wanted to take advantage of. But I actually didn't have as much experience in Unity myself, much less VR. But over the course of a few days, I learned quickly so that I could basically participate in the bootcamp itself. Provided them with eligibility requirements in that regard, showing them that, yes, I may not know much right now, but I can learn what I need to. And so over the course of the 4 weeks of our personal projects, I really grew in terms of my sense of being able to develop and be able to take what I have up here and putting it into something real, taking what I have from also my game design background and doing that as well. So there's 2 projects I wanted to just share with you today. The first one is my first week's project. And basically the idea of this game was it was going to be sort of like a firefighting game, but in the sense that you were going to be an AI within the metaverse. And a viral fire had broken out in the metaverse, and you as a security AI was going around and putting these fires out. And I had these number of mechanics that I wanted to include in terms of spreading fire, knocking down, structures to be able to get to other like AIs and stuff to be able to rescue them and that sort of thing. But if I've come to realize after the week that I overloaded myself. I made the scope way too large. So in the end, while I had what you're seeing now, where it has the spreading fire and being able to extinguish it with fire extinguishing grenades and the hose and such, it was still really only, mechanics. It wasn't an actual game. It really didn't get the idea of the game across. And that was the problem. That was that it wasn't useful in that sense. So jumping ahead 4 weeks or into the week 4, after having done two more iterations or 2 different projects themselves, again, learning to bring my scope down, learning more about the platform and how to make stuff. This is what I ultimately came up with for the week 4. And in this game, you're basically a person that is sorting through space junk using these guns called multi-mag guns. So you'd basically shoot the incoming objects with the appropriate color, and then as you would see, they would sort themselves into the appropriate bin. And because I was able to limit my scope, take what I had learned, make the best possible use of it, and just expand on that, I was actually able to get a pretty nice looking prototype together with polish and sound and all that. And it just really, in the sense of jumping from week 1 to week 4, to be able to see my progress myself was very beneficial to me from a perspective of, boosting my own ego, but in terms of like, hey, I actually did learn something. So those were my 2 projects. That's what I really, to show my progress over just those 4 weeks in the prototyping bootcamp, not including our project, which we'll be showing later as a group. So with that, I'll go ahead and hand it to Alwyn, I suppose.
Cool. All right. Hi, everyone. So my name is Alvin Curavilla. Let me actually just share my screen for a second. Share screen.
Let me know if you can.
Just one sec.
Perfect.
Can you guys see it? Oh, so. It's displaying in the window. Okay, I thought it would actually full screen it. I hope this is okay for everyone. Okay, so the rehab simulator was something that I made in week 3 of the prototyping area. So pretty much before I start, I wanted to let you guys know a little bit about me. So I actually have a background in biology, and I've actually worked in many industries, none of which involve in gaming. I was I've done QA work. I've been a car salesman. I have been in medical school. I have been working in the finance department at PepsiCo. So I have kind of been all over the place. But at the end of the day, technology, art, and video games was kind of what I personally enjoyed doing. And another thing is that part of the reason why I did my studies in biology and medicine was because I enjoyed helping people. So with my week 3 project, what I wanted to do was create a fun and interesting way for people to do any type of physical therapy. So the initial concept of the project that I had was to create a low impact body exercises and stretches such as arm rotations, head tilts, and squats that users can do. I wanted to make sure that they can correctly visualize the movements, inform them of different muscle groups that are being worked on and strengthened, and display the progress of each exercise. I also wanted to probably create an in-game coach to motivate the players. Ultimately, what I saw this kind of vision being was also having the ability for a physical therapist to join in and evaluate the progress of the player, to gamify the environment, to give it a more particle effects, stories, animations, and to use hand tracking because of to get more refined exercises of the forearm. So the scope of the prototype for that 1 week time frame, I decided to just do one exercise, visualize those correct movements, and display the progress of each exercise. I just left out the information for the muscle groups because those were just going to be standard images that would just go ahead and the user could read, as well as the in-game coach, because that itself would have been a whole at least maybe possibly a month to get done. So the prototype demo, let me just play this for you guys. So essentially it gave you this panel where you would follow the directions, you would go ahead, pull the triggers, and it would actually create for you in this area the 2 circles for you to do arm rotations. The idea is that you would go around the circle with the arm rotations, filling up these squares, and your progress would be tracked in the board in front of you. And so as you're doing these rotations, we're making sure that the movement is done correctly, which is again why you have that circle. So once you're done, it just gives you a simple congratulations thing. But like I said before, this, you could restart it and, proceed again. In this demo, I also included some initialization values just as debugging tools. But basically, the idea was to make sure that the user was doing everything according to the motion that is required for their therapy. So lessons learned for this project that I thought was actually really nice was I learned a lot about XR nodes, which is something that we dives a little bit more deeper into how the VR rig is used to track input. Also, another thing that actually my colleague Joseph mentioned was keeping everything in scope. That's always, we always have these, crazy dreams, these crazy ideas, but we only have a certain amount of time that we can actually complete something. So literally cutting out things that you don't need, making sure that what you're presenting is something, that is the core idea of what you want, is something that I've really learned as I progressed through this course. And then the last thing was that I wrote that sometimes when you need to move forward, you need to take a step back. And this is because there are certain times where you'll actually be stuck on a situation and you won't know what's going on. You'll try to power through. You'll try to, figure out, hey, you know what, if I keep pushing myself, I will eventually get, the answer. But the true answer is to actually take a step back and evaluate everything as a whole. And this actually helped me a lot because I was diving into things that I did not, wasn't too sure about, wasn't too sure if this was the correct way to go. And then once I took a step back, I realized, oh my God, this could be a whole lot simpler, if I did it this way. And so with this project, it was actually an eye opener, because you always want to make sure you're looking at yourself at like that, 50,000, feet view. So you can go ahead and make sure what you're doing is kind of the most efficient way to move forward. So with that, that's the end of my project. I'd like to hand it over to Emma.
So while Emma is, if you can stop sharing screen, Alvin, yes, Emma can prepare. In the meantime, I have two. One, there's a comment that I will quickly read that. And in the meantime, for our industry experts, I think after Emma, we will get any question from you or any comments regarding these personal projects. Kay Guerra asked, so the students work on individual projects while also working on the group project? No, maybe I didn't explain that clearly. So basically, in the prototyping bootcamp, the first 4 weeks, they are all alone working on their prototypes every week, one different industry or game project. And the second month of the prototyping bootcamp, they are actually selecting one of the prototypes that is being created and then bring it to an MVP level in 1 month. Now they are with the group members. So Alvin, Joseph, and Emma were one team. We are bringing 2 teams today, and they actually created an MVP project, which we will release. Actually, they will share more details about that afterwards. So these are the projects that you are seeing right now. Is only the project that's been created in 1 week. So Emma, stage is yours about your introduction, background, and project. You can also share your screen. I also see that.
Should be shared. Can you see it?
Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, great. So hello, everyone. I hope you're enjoying the presentation so far, or if you're attending the conference, you're having a good time. So I'm Emma, and just a little bit about me really quickly. I'm someone who loves exploring new ideas and learning new skills really quickly. That's just one of my passions. I'm also really a big advocate of self-directed education, and I love animation. So I attended the foundations course for XRB as well as the prototyping one. And as I said before, I really like animation. So before XR Bootcamp, I actually did quite a lot of illustration work and worked a little bit in the animation industry. And my specialty is kind of traditional paper animation. So when I started XR Bootcamp, I was actually pretty nervous about learning Unity and learning how to code, since I'd never really done much coding before. So there was a really big question in my mind if I would be able to learn so much in such a short period of time. And I definitely had a lot of self-defeating beliefs that I had to acknowledge, such as thinking maybe it's better if I just stick to being purely a designer or an artist, and maybe I'm not smart enough to learn code, or Unity is too difficult, I don't know enough math or physics, and just, is this the right thing for me to do when I have so little experience? Again, hold on, I skipped. And then I guess my biggest takeaway from just learning over the past few months was just, to learn something, you really have to trust yourself and your abilities and focus on what matters the most to you. So to prioritize what you think will be best in order to acquire the skills that you think are most important, and just acknowledging those beliefs and just one step at a time moving forward and trusting that you will figure it out. Okay. So for my projects, for the first week of prototyping, I made this ribbon handling project. And as you see, the particles on the ribbon can actually have their collisions detected. I also implemented some smooth camera movement. And my overall goal for this project was just to create an experience that is really pleasing and mesmerizing for the user. So the main challenges I faced when making this was just writing the code in a way that it iterates so that the particle collisions can be detected, because there's just not much out there about doing that in Unity. And the particle system can be pretty finicky. I also put sound effects that change depending on the speed of the ribbon particles. And for my week 4 prototype, I made a task managing app. So the idea of this app is that it helps you organize your tasks for a big project so that you can break it down and figure out what needs to be done at what time in order to get everything done in a organized fashion. So here there's one of the tasks is on fire, and that's basically if 3 days has passed and you haven't completed the task, it will catch on fire. So for those of you who know like agile terms or whatever, it's like a dotting system essentially. And then there's also an interactable UI or UX kind of thing. So it's like a palette which you can use to drag out tasks or store them, and also color code them. And then here's just like a blocking calendar that tells you what color corresponds with what type of task. For this project, the main thing I focused on was just making sure that everything is in a really comfortable position so that the user is never straining their neck or feeling like they have to be in an unnatural position in order to manipulate what's in front of them. So that's what I really focused on. And I also made sure that the physics interaction is really pleasing, because if you're doing something kind of mundane, like organizing tasks for a big project, the last thing you want is to be uncomfortable. So that was very interesting to learn about where to place objects and learning about like how the curiosity zone is behind you in VR. And so there's like just learning about how to utilize the space in the most effective way, and to not forget about things like how there's space behind the user.
Anything else that you would like to add?
Yeah,
Emma?
just one last quick thing. I think Alwyn and Joseph also mentioned this, but definitely about the scope. I feel like probably everybody who had to create prototypes in such a short amount of time kind of might feel this way about the scope, but it really is hard to predict how long something will take. Like something that seems very challenging in your head might be completed just in a few minutes, literally, and something that seems easy, it may not be so. So I would say I definitely, especially from week 1 to week 4, I definitely realized to focus on the core of the prototype is the most essential thing. And because that's the thing that will really transfer value at the end of the day. But yeah, that's all I have to say.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Emma. So before going to the MVP project, which we will a little bit go like much more on a group feedback, I would like to invite our experts here. So they should give, if they have any comments before to the cyborging project, which is being created by 3 of them. Anything that you would like to share?
Yeah, congratulations everybody on your progress. That was really impressive to see. Seriously, in such a short time, amazing results. I just have a couple bullets real quick that I took some notes on kind of while watching your individual presentations. Joseph, I really enjoy seeing a focus on simulation, on training simulations. To me, that's such a practical and an important application for XR technologies. If you haven't looked into, it's called ITSEC, iitsec.org. It's like they have a conference, I think, that just happened this last week, but it's a fantastic like conference to look at and understand who's presenting, what are they talking about. There's like military people, but a lot of other kind of I'd say industry verticals that are represented in the kind of this training simulation space, but might be a cool way for you to network and kind of start looking at kind of what a future in training simulation, VR applications might be. And same thing, Alwyn, is your do you have a background in physical therapy?
I don't. I have a general background in medicine. So cool. I was in medical school for like a year and a half. But again, it wasn't like being a doctor wasn't my thing, but I'd still love to be in that field. And I love technology, which is why I kind of meld the two together once I started this.
And kind of what stood out to me, I think, was how different all of your backgrounds are, and then also seeing those reflected in your individual projects. Like for everyone in the audience, I guess like the lesson and kind of takeaway here is like whatever it is that you're bringing to the space, like there is value in finding this overlap, with unique applications, whatever that is. And I love Emma, you're coming with a non-technical or a non-developer background, but more of this like design-oriented background. I heard you mentioning Mike Alger's Curiosity Zone, type of concepts there. And so like, just know that it's still early days in the industry for everybody, and whatever talent, passion, interest, or skill set that you have, like Unity is just a toolbox, and sometimes it feels like a big pill to swallow to be like, go learn development, but really it's just a tool in the toolbox among many tools. And you'd be surprised how many other tools you're already coming to the space with. And Unity just helps you kind of like put those things together in a way that other people can enjoy too.
Thank you, Joe, for your feedback. Mark, Andre, anything you would like to add, Mark? Yes.
Sure. Definitely took a lot of notes on these great presentations, first of all. And Farhan, thanks for building a framework that generates these kinds of things. I mean, it's amazing what you guys did in 4 weeks, much less one. Joseph, I like your design first approach to what you did, even though the concept was quite grand. It immediately made me think of people raising their hands in the metaverse that need help with their NFT identity. And I think there's a lot of promise there. So put that concept in your back pocket and do some more design thinking about it, because I think that could be brilliant. We will need those kinds of things as companies connect themselves to each other, or connect to each other, to make a real metaverse come about. Yep. I know that word is loaded, but I went to AWE and I drank some of the juice. So I love the way you scoped both. Even though you started with that grand concept, you got right down to what I think is a bona fide game in the end. And I think that's neat. It reminds me of a project I did to bring the old Asteroids arcade game into VR. And it's so simple that if you keep the game that simple in terms of your rule set and such, it works out really well, right?
Yeah. Sorry, I was gonna say, in terms of like my background, which I didn't really go into detail too much because I didn't want to take up too much time, but I've actually been going like to school for game design for like the last few years, more so in the design than development. So when I saw this in terms of like doing the VR and the VR being an emerging thing, this is what I really wanted to be able to say add that to my belt and be able to say yes, I can do VR and think in terms of VR and such. And like with the first week's project, I had that grand scale. But I only got the mechanics in, and you didn't really get a game out of it. So by the end, I wanted to have something solid and fun by the 4th week. So that 4th week project is what I came up with.
It's funny because now that I'm working on some indie games and creating some games in metaverses like you know, that are currently still walled, but like Manticore, for example, or Roblox, I tend to start with what you did: capsules, cubes, cubes on fire. And it only needs to be that simple to get the game mechanics in there. And the great part about 3D, and I think it's particularly easy with Unity in a way, is it's easy to replace cube with monster or whatever you like. You know what I mean? Test tube or whatever. So for even for training simulations, primitives are great. So great job, Joseph. Alwyn, biology, love your background, love your diversity of experience and education and whatnot. I have the same, and I think we need more sort of polyglots or polymaths like that. I saw your therapy experience as what I would call maybe a serious game. You want to make therapy fun, you want to make training fun. I think that always works. Gamification is a great idea pretty much all the time. Love your coach therapist model. And it just made me think that you and possibly even Joseph might want to strike up a conversation with Jordan Brighton at Virtro. Shameless plug, because they do a lot of virtual training type work and also are real gamers. And so they try to marry games and training a lot. I think there's a possibility you could use natural language programming in your experience, Alwyn. And love the scope of the MVP, super well scoped, like all the others. And I love that you said back up from the painting, because that's my play on your phrase. It's always good to back up from what you're making and say, oh, should I really do that, or should I do it that way? Emma, love the speed learning mention. Totally trying to do that myself right now, using assets and just learning Unity, because it is a lot. It's a big ball of options is what I call that. Very familiar to me from places like Autodesk, where you open AutoCAD, you open Maya, Max 3D. It's immediately overwhelming, right? So I like how you approach that, and that you shared your feelings about approaching XR. I think that's important to do to bridge the gap between where we are now and where XR will be in the future. I love that you trust in what matters to you. That's a great phrase. I'm gonna beg, steal, borrow that. Let's see, and that you build what you like to play, right? That's like saying make the games you like to play. Totally a fan of that. That's why I'm on that kick about reviving arcade games in VR. Let's see. Love the camera views and the wand. Can't believe you went from that to a very practical, pragmatic application. One of my favorite apps on iOS is called Clear. It's by a company that does really, really simple design, and I think you took that to the next levels. I think you have an MVP for a saleable app right there, a productivity app right there. So that was pretty amazing to see. I did feel like it was a little claustrophobic in that cube, and I like your focus on comfort. Super important in VR. And I think it was, if you put padding, if you made that a padded room, literally, it might sort of drive the comfort angle. So yeah, and then your comment at the end about scope should basically be equivalent to value that you're delivering to the consumer. Right on. So amazing. Sorry I took up so much time, but those were amazing.
Perfect. Thank you, Mark, for your comments. Andre, would you like to add something?
Yeah. So first disclosure: I was driving the car. I was listening carefully to everything has been said on the stage, but I was driving the car. I did manage to distinguish the speakers and identify projects. The most impression. I want to make a great. So Ferhan has made a great deal of putting up the framework for this education, because this is really impressive. Guys, what do you have created in a matter of 4 weeks? And is it correct? Each project takes 1 week, but there was certain iterations. So you've been learning for 4 weeks, and the project took 1 week. It's amazing. Really. The scope is super important, and that you able to understood that in the project is great. Like, speaking of the content, I like idea about visualizing agile methodology. If I understood correctly what you did, Emma. I didn't saw what Alvin did, and I only hear from Joseph about the gamification of those blocks. I totally agree with Mark saying about the gray primitives, which is a fundamental in terms of prototyping. And here, I don't know if you like, there are some tools that enables you to do prototyping even outside of Unity in VR already, and I think it will advance your skills, but actually you're studying coding and design, so knowing upfront what you're going to build is super important. What I haven't, I heard that from Alvin, like I'm not sure if I heard this from Joseph and Emma. It's like, who do you have in mind when you build this prototype? Like, who would be using that? Like, I'm coming from the venture capital perspective, and like the customer, the user is the key
Target
persona.
audience.
Yeah, and like once you understood that, the omic and why they willing to do that, that would alleviate a lot of pain in your development in the future, because that actually would define all your design choices. Because actually you either create an art, so meaning you self-expressing yourself, you release your self-expression here, or you're trying to be helpful to someone, and in that sense you need to define who is that someone and how you can help. Well, that's it on my side, and again, great job from both standpoint, like the program and the students.
Thank you, Andrei.
Really impressive.
So thank you for your nice words, every industry expert here. I mean, your comment is very valuable to us, and hearing these kind of words is very nice for us. The only thing that I'm worried about right now is the time. So I would like to immediately go to the next stage, which is the MVP phase of these 3 great students. So to respect the other groups as well, can you limit it within 5 minutes or even less, the project, because it is important that we need to bring time for other project members. So who will pitch? In the meantime, our experts can, I think, stay here. Who is sharing screen so I can add?
I'll be sharing screen if you're talking about the skyboarding.
Okay, perfect. Should I help, or I cannot see your screen? Perfect. Okay, it's a little bit loading. The loading is a little bit slow, so I will make sure that 1 second. Okay, now we can see, I guess. If it is a little bit slow, let me know. We can maybe remove myself and some people.
Okay. So we're good to start though now? You want to go ahead?
Yes, okay. Please.
All right. Well, thank you, Ferhan. So yes, our project between me, Alwyn, and Emma was called Skyboarding. This was originally a concept thought up by Emma herself, which she made this as her MVP project and presented it to us, and we wanted to get in on it, and so we did. And so the idea that this really revolved around was the idea of having a sense of being able to fly through the air on a board controlled by body movements. That's basically the tagline. That's the core concept of this idea, and that's what Emma was really wanting to go for in that sense. And that's even what she was providing within her week's prototype, that she actually got those controlled together. And just giving that sense of sensation to be able to fly through the air with those word control movements, so you actually feel like you're surfing on the wind, basically. Much like in this image here you see from a popular anime called Eureka 7. That's really what we were wanting to go for. So we talked about it. We got some documents together. We did try to do some game design to outline our ideas and what we wanted to go with. And so in the end, this is basically what we came up with in terms of our foundation settings. So for the setting itself, we wanted you to kind of take on the role of this explorer who's going to like find these ancient ruins through portals called skyways, and then the flying board, which of course you would then fly to be able to go between them. And then the overall design of the world and such like that would be more of a fantasy landscape and very material and expansive and set in the sky. The gameplay itself, we were going to make it so that you would have flying objects and stuff that you had to go and collect them to grab points and be able to deposit the points. And then you'd have to get enough points within a time limit so that you could actually pass the level. Encouraging the player to be able to fly around and be able to reach out and look around and such like that is really what we were going for. And then the mechanics to try to make that happen was, of course, the skyboard flying controls that I have implemented, along with points, a health system. So like if you're running into stuff, it's encouraging you not to hit stuff by, having a health decrease. And then the moving objects themselves that you actually have to go grab and be able to deposit them. And then a time limit to try to give you that sense of urgency and just kind of scale it down a bit so that you wouldn't just aimlessly be flying around, that you would have a sense of urgency. You had to get to the matter. So to be able to put this together, we established our tech stack, Unity obviously being the main choice for us in terms of the development of what we actually built it in. We used the 2020.3.21, and we used Pro Builder for the blockouts of the original level design and experimentation, GitHub for the repo management, and the Oculus and Valve Index as the hardware. Myself, I was using the Valve Index, the other two using the Oculus. Open XR packages and plugins so that we could have a unilateral interaction system that we could both use that was more open to other hardware, and then other Unity packages for various scene building and other such. So the timeline went pretty much like this, with the first week 1 and 2 being about planning, documentation, research, setup, prototyping, etc., level design. By the time we moved into the 3rd and 4th weeks, we had to drop some aspects that weren't working. One of those being like a multiplayer. That was something we really wanted to get in, but it just wasn't working out. And we ended up dropping it by week 3. Probably should have dropped it back by week 1, but we really wanted to get it in there. That was something I was working on and was doing, making strides in it, but it's just had to be dropped. Then we also needed to keep refining the game management, which myself was working on, and then testing, bug testing and such like that. And then in the last 5 weeks here, just after the cohort actually finished, we wanted to just make it look better and make it look nicer for you. And so that's what we've been doing the last few weeks here. And overall, here is our final result. Since
Thomas has a hard stop, can you go to the exact place so we will just look at the gameplay footage if possible?
Yeah.
Because we have to quickly hand over to Thomas and Sadiq. Maybe you can skip the part.
This is the gameplay footage.
Perfect.
So you see, we had our start menu. So you would actually start in and you had the instructions. So we're here telling you how to play and what you're supposed to be doing. Then it would drop you into the level in this skyscape, as it were. You're on your board. You can see the indicator on the left is pointing towards one of the nearest objects, the objects themselves being these boids, as they're called, with the living models on them as birds, so that it gives you more of a sense of being in the sky. You have the sounds which you're hearing now as feedback, letting you know that you scored points, along with the block you see in the bottom right-hand corner, which provides you with the indication of your health and your time, your current score, and what tier level you've achieved. So really just trying to make it as much of as a kind of fleshed out single level demo of a game as we could. And you see, even as you're running into the trunk, that the health was also decreasing there on the block itself. And the controls themselves are based on head position. So when you would move forward or back, you would go, pull up and, point your nose down based on your head position, and also based on the head position in terms of rotating. So actually doing the roll around your head. And then some further controls in terms of the turning and the speeding up and stuff like that were based on the actual buttons on the controls themselves. So that was basically what we ended up having for our thing. So I'll go ahead and skip ahead if it will stop doing stuff.
Thank you very much. Roger is here with us. I would like to thank three of you. Our jury or experts are taking notes, but we have to really skip to directly to Thomas and Sadiq. So please stay in the stream so you can also listen to the feedback. Okay, I just want to make sure that Thomas can make it as well. So thank you, Emma, Joseph, Alvin, all your skyboarding team. We will also get feedback about that in a bit. Let me invite Thomas and Sadiq in the meantime. Roger has also dropped maybe for a few minutes. He may say something while Thomas and Sadiq is preparing. Sadiq, you can also join to the StreamYard, so I can also add you in. Perfect. Roger, would you like to say something a few minutes while we are preparing the Thomas and Sadiq? Very quickly.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a pleasure to see both teams like working so hard, and I could glimpse that there has been even more time invested even after the official MVP phase was over to really give the last polish, which is really exciting to see that both teams seem to have been attached very much to their projects and try to push it up to the best and highest limits, even to go the initial mile and polish it towards the end, which is always a pleasure to see. But I know Thomas has very limited time, so please, Sadiq and Thomas, please go ahead and tell us how your experience was.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Roger.
Okay, shall I start?
Yeah, please.
Okay. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to leave very soon, but I'm confident that Sadiq will be able to show our group work as well and will inform me about what has been discussed. So just quickly before I drop off, I wanted to show my two of my projects that I've done in the first 4-week rapid prototyping session. So I am a solution engineer at Salesforce. So that is a technical sales role, and we are selling Salesforce as a software, and it's a quite complex product nowadays with lots of modules and stuff, and we like to sell it with stories, and so this becomes quite limited in terms of complexity that you can project. And so I started exploring VR, and we are using VR as a company in the way that we sent out now during the pandemic headsets to our customers to do roundtables and to do meetings in VR. We use Glue for that. And so that's how I got in contact with it. But this is quite limited because you can meet, you can whiteboard, and you can scribble and present, but you cannot really show something interactive. And that's why I started to dig into it and found out quite fast that it's really a steep learning curve to know what's important to learn and to know what you can handle with the framework and just use and utilize that framework. And so that's why that's also what I wanted to explore in my prototypes. And I want to show you two today. One is the first week I tried to do what I was having in mind all the time, and I'm working on this right now to make it more appealing and industry or production ready, I would say. But this is really a storytelling platform that allows you to, in a content management system, create different streams of activities like monitors playing, devices playing. So you could see a phone there that is popping up whenever it is relevant to the story, because there's so much elements going on at the same time. When you view a customer journey, you really want to have this spatial awareness that, you know, okay, if I go on the left-hand side, I can see the Service Cloud in action. And if you go on the right-hand side, I can see Sales Cloud in action. So that's really a mechanism to create these stories and take, I'd say, 2D digital media and put them into a space where you can consume them. And so we're going to add a lot of more fidelity to it with better backgrounds, etc. But that as a concept in week one what I did there. And then I tried different stuff in the other weeks. And in the week 4, I really just toyed around with what we have. So I have a Quest 2, and that's why I played around with pass-through and hand tracking at the same time, which is quite, those two are sometimes hard to get working well together. But this was really just a basic hand gesture tracking so that you can spawn balls and magic orbs and then throw them with the movement of your hand. So this showed some really great promise on further developing this, and maybe even taking week 1 and make that work in AR as well. Because we all agree, I think, that this black and white bad pass-through at the moment will evolve to something much more realistic, and then it's going to be very interesting.
Thank you, Thomas. Anything you want to add? Or so what I suggest is this, Sadiq, we will have your introduction after your MVP. Before Thomas leaves, I want him and with you to show the MVP project as well. So he will at least be here while, I don't know how many minutes left you have, Thomas, that you can join.
It's quiet at the moment, so I think I can stay a couple more.
Okay. So is it okay, Sadiq, that you start the MVP, showing MVP first, and then we will go back to your prototypes for the sake of time management. So while they are preparing the prototype, just to give you an idea, as Thomas mentioned, he's working at Salesforce, and on top of that, he managed to make this because there are many people joining or trying to find out if they can manage with the full-time job. I think it is possible. I mean, you need to understand that you need to commit at least 15 to 20 hours per week on top of your full-time job. If this is something that you can manage, and if you can prepare your mind as well, it is very valuable from that perspective. So, and the second project, Thomas, you prepared is also interesting because Presence Platform SDK just being announced by Meta Quest. And we are really looking forward to see much more complex projects with this SDK whenever it's released. So Sadiq, you can start right now. So this is the projects that Thomas shared was created in 1 week each. Now this game room project is being created by Sadiq and Thomas in 1 month. They bring the prototype level to an MVP level. Stage is yours. We cannot hear you. Unmute yourself. Maybe in the meantime, Thomas, would you like to start? So we don't.
Yeah. Okay. So
can you hear me now? Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now we can hear you.
Perfect.
Yeah. So it's changed the audio to Oculus. So I'll introduce myself later. So I'll quickly present the Game Room VR, our MVP prototype, which was prepared in 4 weeks and by me and Thomas. This I'll present first the idea and the scope as a part 1, and then I'll explain the features, and we have a short video for the demo and what would we do if we have some more time and funding for that. And so basically Game Room VR is the theme of the Game Room VR was to develop a physics based natural interaction room where people can interact and play games and do physical interactions as natural as possible. So for that, the most important thing we realized is to have a multiplayer framework in it. And so we have chosen photon fusion to enable the network physics, and because it matched with our theme, so we choose that platform. It's still in the beta phase now. And of course, we need voice chat to interact with each other, so we use Photon Voice 2 again. So within these 4 weeks, we managed to put together 2 games, cards, free form of cards with few accessories like writing board and card dispenser and a timer to allow you to play all sorts of games which you normally play in the real world. And the second one we put together was Haroki. Go ahead and show it now. So for the cards free form, So this is the snapshot of the table and the poker table, I'd call. So basically, we have the writing board, which is sorry, we have the writing board where it uses a physics colliders network. Every object here is networked, so that's another level of complexity which we'll discuss later. But yeah, so with the pen you can use it uses a collider, and it basically adds the points to the line renderer. And we have an eraser to erase just that particular part. And the card dispenser also spawns the card, and also at any time we can just reset it. So the fun thing is you can just play with the card dispenser by throwing cards around each other too. And so we had to enable card playing, we needed the hands to pick up and stack the cards. So one hand should be able to pick up, and the other hand should be able to stack one above other. So for that, Thomas worked on animations, and which will show now. So with both, we can stack and unstack the cards from both the hands too. So the hierarchy tables, this is a snapshot again. So we have strikers and the pucker. The interesting thing here was the abacus scorekeeping style of object asset which we can move around and keep manually. So the aim here is to have as natural interaction as possible with this explanations and about the UI and stuff. So this is a quick demo. I hope you can hear the audio. Sorry.
Yes.
So when the player enters, there's two options. Where he can join as a host and a client, and then when he enters, he can teleport to each game. And as you can see here, the hand is animated for each object, so that we have a framework where we can do that in less than a half an hour. And all the cards are networked too, and we can. There are a few bugs to fix, but yeah, of course, it's the 4 weeks project, and as you can see, we can both stack and unstack with both the hands and animations. And for the board, as you can see here, everything is physics interactive, like the eraser which rolls around, and the teleportation. It's hard to do testing with the less room area. So the board. It's also networked, and the other player also can see. This is Thomas doing the testing, and that's me on the other side confirming what he's writing. And as you can see, the frame rate is still we are under the budget. So just fast forward. So the eraser, so you can erase particular points you want to erase. And the timer is the simple implementation where we reset using the buttons. So the striker, as you can see, it's all natural interaction, and that's me on the other side. So we have the puck, which spawns whenever the player when it's out of space and when the goal happens. As you can see, I think I'll fast forward. Okay. So that's basically the interaction. So what would we do if we had some more time and funding? Is like first fix few game bugs, and then make sure we have many rooms. Now we have one room and a host and a client. We will allow many rooms and the entire mechanism of joining rooms. Add more games, as well as more interactive menus and network music. So it's like a disco. We can have even the disco possibly, and onboarding options to have more UI and UX side of that too. With this, I will leave to Thomas. Thomas, you'll share.
No, I think in the interest of time, that's a good overview of our project. So
let's actually bring back the experts. So this time we expect Joe, Mark, and Andre, if they have any comments about the last MVP project that you just see, the game room project, and the Thomas personal projects, prototypes. And then afterwards, we will go to the other projects being already pitched. But I just want to make sure that before Thomas leave, maybe you have some feedback to the MVP and prototypes. Who wants to start? I mean, we are actually quite lucky today because Joe is coming from Tilt 5, which probably is the company leading the board game, augmented board games. So, or defining the future of board games, let's say. So, yeah.
I'll go ahead and start. And just
Okay.
one thing, I'm always hesitant to call anybody an expert in a space because we're all still learning so much along the way. But I feel so just excited to be here with everybody. First of all, huge respect for any team that's undertaking multiplayer. It's from the outside looking in, it's you don't see the struggles, but just working with any kind of networked experience, like it is a level of complexity just beyond, you know, what a single player game can take you. So hats off, you know, for really that's like platinum level challenge, you know, for a 4-week project to have something that's fun, interactive, and multiplayer. And also just on a developer side, it made me happy to hear you mention, Sadiq, the frame rate meter. This is an important detail that often gets overlooked. Optimization, especially for like a standalone mobile chipset like the Meta Quest, is very often left as like the last thing that oh yeah, maybe we should optimize this type of thing. But just remember that there's tons of methods. Unity shares lots of like videos about how to optimize along the way to help just kind of keep that under budget and a good experience. So I was really happy to see that. And I think you made such a wise choice in kind of, here's just a marker board. Humans have been playing games for eons, you know, using nothing but like drawing in the sand. In like using simple tools to just kind of show the game that you're playing in a visual way with maybe not even having game pieces. So as a proof of concept, you know, and as a slice of a full kind of, you know, game space, what did you call it? Game room VR. I think what you did was really wise because it's a framework that you can continue to build upon, but allows users to go in. Like right now, you can start sharing this build. I saw the application link that you had up there for the Google Drive link. Like, this is a game that you can start sending out, getting feedback, you know, and then kind of like slowly building on, you know, additional games or new features. So I think that is just really impressive to see. It's a slice. Everyone on the call needs to know that is so important for any kind of pitch, that this is a complete slice of something. It's not just like one feature. It's not just one glimpse of, you know, what it could be, or even one mechanic, but this is a slice that shows, you know, the entire kind of user experience from beginning to end.
Thank you. Any comments regarding Thomas' prototypes? 2 prototypes he showed, just quickly, because I just want to make sure that.
I just want to acknowledge that the social experiences in VR. I think that's the main opportunity for game developers. Yes, I agree with Joy. It's very complex matter, and you need to handle so many things simultaneously. You didn't touch on audio. I'm not sure if you presented the audio part, but this is the part where you will see a lot of challenges in the future. Like in terms of the concepts, I really like both of them, and the practical approach in Thomas' personal project. And I see the roots of that in his job, which is the best case scenario for like when you developing something that you need for yourself to use in your daily job. That's usually yields very good projects. In terms of multiplayer gaming, I think that I've seen some games. I haven't seen the air hockey, and I wonder, like, how do you imagine the interactions? Are players supposed to have a physical table, or they will be playing like just waving hands? Because for me, like it's quite easy to imitate with the table, and I think you will gain certain. You will gain more traction if you keep in mind that players could use actual surface to play the game. It's on my side. And yeah, great work.
Yeah, it's a very important point. That's the reason that I mentioned with Thomas project, the stream, like the pass-through, SDK actually lets you to look at your table, your keyboard, right? So we are actually in the transition phase right now for this kind of tracking of your own playground surface, let's say. And yeah, I think the next step, maybe they can also add that it will be, it's actually a great idea to make even with the controller, think of like you make it upside down, the controller, and then it's literally your air hockey. Exactly, exactly. So actually, they use for the typing. Yeah, as far as I know, they use the controller's tip to type as well. So exactly. So yeah, these are just maybe a few features that you can add, and please share with us when you do that, because I think the people here deserves to see first before anyone else after giving this feedback. How about you, Mark? Any feedback, since you are on the design focus background as well, that you care so much on the design? I would love to hear your opinion.
I do. Just to echo everybody else, and Andre, really insightful right there about I'm sure Joe understands that too, with tabletop games. The table is the new sandbox, right? So your hands or controllers are all new, organic game controllers. I love the idea of using the controller as a puck or as a striker. That's awesome. Just don't break your controller. Okay, Thomas. The expo-like presentation space was great. It was nice and familiar. Just having come back from AWE, it was like I was there again. It looked like you were actually giving a demo at AWE in the expo space. So that was really nice. And I like that you incorporated sort of an on-air or presenting this board as part of the UI for that space is really smart. The pass-through game, throw the ball at the Oculus logo. I really love that. It felt like old school console games to me. Nintendo popped in my head. And I thought of it like playing in a physical space like you did at home, where you could throw the controller, reach for the reset button or whatever. It's kind of cool that you can see even a low-res real world through the forward-facing cameras in pass-through mode, because it, to me, makes it a safer place to play. So even though you might not have detection or whatever working or even turned on, that was really neat to see. Sadiq and Thomas, I like their presentation style. It was great. It was very clear that you had a visual style, and it was clear throughout, even into gameplay. That was very nice. And that's kind of rare, especially if you're a tech first, kind of team. Air hockey, love it. That's one of my all-time favorite games. I definitely want to see that ship. Love that you put the Abacus scoreboard in there, because that's a physical element, but it's so small, it's almost insignificant, even though it's a scoreboard. I love that you included that. That's really cool. And all the interactions felt really natural to me, especially when the cards landed on the table. Even though it wasn't perfect, it was real close. As a whole, the whole thing reminds me of old school arcades. And I think the comment about social that Andre made, that is serving it right up to the consumer, because where did people go with their quarters in the old days? To the arcade. This is the new arcade, right? And so as a space, it could totally be evolved into something that is a hot attraction. So great work, guys.
Great. Any feedback or any question from Thomas or Sadiq to our experts?
No, thank you. Yeah, I actually agree on the arcade side, because it brought up a second time in the conversation, like arcade game, they probably are not visually appealing to the user, but the interactivity and seeing other gamers playing around you, even different games, that would be something to explore in virtual reality in very near future, because you can do imitations of those games and put them in the same place, and that could be a big thing again. And then that would be you can make modules of those games and run them around different platforms like avatars, but those simple objects would be in demand, I believe.
Yeah, I forgot to dovetail on that. At Virtua, we had virtual spaces with virtual humans. Those characters obviously couldn't talk to you all at once. It'd be really crazy and chaotic. So we had this idea of consider the idea anyway of speech bubbles, right? And then you could make it totally modular, like Andre said. Sorry, other side. And the other thing is that echoes your comments about sound, right? So tuning sound is really, really important, and it'll be so much fun to put the game sounds in there, the stingers and whatnot. But then also incorporate maybe voice chat, right? So what is the realm of game sounds versus voice sounds, that kind of stuff. So
yeah, definitely. Perfect. So
Farhan,
okay.
last thing. Sorry.
Yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Because development is so easy. Looking at what Rec Room and like VR Chat and Social Spaces have done with their applications to help kind of grow the user base and install base is like having cross-platform, right? So just like PC users being able to kind of go in on their browser or through a client to be able to play and interact with their friends that are in VR or XR devices. That would be, I imagine, much further down the road in terms of your pipeline and production. But just understanding like social right now is finding really powerful ways to be inclusive of folks outside of the XR space, which is great because it kind of introduces a lot of the interactions and hardware and ecosystem to everybody else.
One question, maybe it will a little bit bring you in a difficult condition, Joe, but in case they want to make this happen in a Tilt 5 platform, would you support them with hardware and everything?
Let's talk. Seriously, hit me up after. Grab me on LinkedIn or Twitter, and I'd love to chat some more because we're definitely in the business of working with game developers, making fun experiences. And, I just have there's such a soft spot in my heart for like developers that are looking to make social and kind of spatial gaming. And especially if there's cross-platform potential where say you have your VR gamers there and then you have a Tilt 5 user that's like this player that with this like top-down view that is able to have unique, player interactions or different ways to play unique games. Could be fun. We should talk.
Perfect. Yeah, definitely. Great. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you, Sadiq. I mean, Sadiq, we will you will stay on stage because we need to also look at your prototyping projects. I will thank to Thomas as well for joining us. I know that it's a little bit late for you, but yeah, I hope that you get feedback as well. So thank you, everyone. So let's, as a final part of the session, we will have the Sadiq projects shared. So please share your screen, Sadiq, so we can quickly check. We cannot hear you. Can you? I can.
Yeah, sorry.
Perfect.
Yeah. So first, let me introduce myself quickly. I'm Sadiq. I'm a researcher at University of Genoa in Italy. I completed my master's and PhD in robotics as a part of Erasmus program. So before coming here, my virtual reality experiences were developing in Unreal a little bit, not a lot. I learned it myself ad hocly and then developed a few things. So my work basically is with the motion simulator. So my job through the PhD was to develop an algorithm which converts the robots into a motion simulator. And so to test those things, I needed the VR dev skills. And then, so luckily I found the XR Bootcamp. And so with that, if you want to contact me, and I'll be happy to reach out. So this is my website. And yeah, so for the week one, I started for the prototyping after the foundations. Basically, I wanted to make something which is quite like holistic, where each and experience are holistic. So I made a car engine repair training simulator. So where the parts are laid in front of you, and then you assemble them together using socket interactors. So with this, I was just trying to put together a scene which looks much complete because I have no background in lightings and animations and game development. So I used whatever I learned in the foundations using XRTK and basically dissected the socket interactor to build to have multiple objects when grabbing. And so it was fun and probably a training use case. And yeah, so the sounds are also there. So you hear the sounds. Okay, so at the end, when it's assembled, it will run. And yeah. So that's my first week. And for the third week, I did a retail therapy. So I wanted to explore, I wanted to explore hand tracking. So I've never done it before. So I wanted to work on it. So I used the Oculus SDK. And yeah, so I built a retail therapy. So in retail therapy, so retail therapy allows you to do cognitive training and as well as reachability training. So with that, you can pick up objects and stretching forward and backward. So it's a trained and validated approach for people like schizophrenia and other problems with issues with the upper limb, like stroke patients. So basically, the task of the player is to do a shopping list. So this is part of the decision training rehabilitation. So each object again has to be grabbed and grabbable, and based on the budget given, they have to basically do the shopping. And yeah, so it was fun interacting with the Oculus without any knowledge in just a week, and it was really fun to do that. As you can see, the grabbing is not as perfect as this, but I just used one mechanism to pinch and grab. And the locomotion was something fun. So it used the trolley as with the button. So for the locomotion, but yeah, assuming that the people, if they are in wheelchair or stuff, could also be a valid option. So I think these are the first week and the third week. The fourth week proposal was converted into the game room. So I've made an interact network card game, which was contracted to a game, which you already presented. So main learnings from my side is that first thing is, as I think everyone mentioned this, the optimal scoping for the given time. It's nice to think all the features should have all the features should be there in the game, but to identify which is the critical task to convey the exact idea you want to do is what the biggest learning for me from this course, and I think as well as everyone will agree with that. 80% done is better than 100% not done. In just that was also something which I really learned a lot. Sometimes you're stuck in a loop and a rabbit hole, and then you cannot get out of it. So it's better to just build the prototype to keep in mind what is the idea to convey, and then work on the other things later. This is the line for what you Ferran used to say. I just stole it. So it's empathy in coding. So when develop whatever your background, whatever your skills, it's important that whatever we code has to be conveyed, because I'm not coding for myself, I'm coding for everyone. So that's something which thanks to Farhan, I learned how to do it. Even that's made my life easier, even with working in a team, to convey my idea exactly. And as I said, I don't have background in visual or UI or UX. I don't know what is lighting and rendering and stuff. I know the basics of what it means, but never worked with it. So through this, for me, to put up, to build a scene and a prototype is something, I realized how important it is, and then to implement, especially in VR. And one more thing is that, the biggest learning for me is the quick prototyping from the prototyping phase. For example, I just thought of this. Yesterday, we were discussing with my team to build some virtual reality experience to design a robotic mechanism, using the input from the user for robotic surgery. And then I was able to do it in like 6 hours. Is this the first in 6 hours a viable test to make sure, okay, that something works? And why I'm mentioning this is that the ability to see what the scope and say, okay, is this experience good in VR? So that's the usual question, right? So is something good in VR, and what value it adds? So that's something easy with the prototyping. It's nice to validate, and with the prototyping course, I was able to achieve that. And thanks to Farhan and all the mentors for this. And with this, I'll end my talk.
Perfect. One more thing that I can add very quickly is it was feedback from actually Sadiq and Thomas team, is the definition of done, the definition of ready is very critical.
Yep.
To define this, especially in a team setting. It was really also striking for me. Actually, this is one of the most important things before you start any kind of team-based project. What does done means to another person, right? The empathy on coding and empathy on distributing the tasks or sharing roles and responsibilities. I think these are really important from that perspective. So I will invite again our experts to talk a little bit about the projects of Sadiq, and afterwards we will go back to skyboarding team, because we need to also take feedback from the experts about that. So who wants to start? Andre, Mark?
Well, I can be short, but really like both prototypes. Like this decision-making therapy sounds super relevant to me. Like it's so hard to take decisions sometimes, so you need to. I didn't thought of VR as a training mechanism for that, but you showed that there is a room for that. The first thing, so probably it would be interesting to explore how different objects physically fit in one hand. Like if you need to carry on multiple objects, like what would be the interaction? And you've been playing with that with cards, and the selection is nice. But here you was kind of assembling the engine just in holding this in the hand, which is not the same as you holding multiple objects. So, but in terms of visuals and interactions, good is good enough. This is a great principle for any early stage company, prototype, or any early stage project that leaves a space to live. Actually, not being a perfectionist. And but it contradicts the visuals, UX, and more attention that you. Well, I mean, you need to learn visuals and UX, but I think probably it's you also need to understand the scope of those domains and hire professionals for each of them to develop further. I think the high level understanding is there. So yeah, totally. Like great projects, great job.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah. And I could feel that there was a basis in UX design there. You had certain elements like the shopping cart, making it a stop go. And this one is, this is the brake, this is the gas kind of thing. Very primitive and simple. And because of that, really effective. And I think also it felt very effective, as if it had like a basis in psychological research, which is my academic background. And so I love to see that kind of thing. It was a repetitive movement. It was easy to adopt and learn and master. The grab was very simple, but it was effective and mimicked what you do at a grocery store. That all that stuff's really great. And as Andre had said before, sound effects in the engine training room, that was cool. Really, they didn't need to be perfect, right? They could be sort of scratch sounds that you replace later, but even as such, the 80% worked. It was really great. I think interaction design was great. Yep, 80% is often good enough to communicate any concept clearly, and it's hard to do in VR. And I think, and portray it in a visual way, especially going to a flat medium like this. That was really great. Not coding for myself. Yay. Good. I've been in a lot of companies, big corporations, some of them, down to a small startup where I felt like they were making the application for themselves. Well, I can drive it blindfolded. Well, no one else can. And the users actually don't like it. And it's because it's not intuitive, doesn't have a solid UX, like Andre said. Love that you applied your empathy for the end user. That means you're going to make the consumer happy, right? And that's what a VC wants to hear. And yeah, last, just a note on the definition of done. That's a really good one. I used to call that, are we done? I would ask developers, implying, what is that? Where's the line? And also, definition of milestones is really important. So what is alpha to you? Is it feature complete? Should there be any bugs, or maybe just no crashers or no major bugs? And how's that different from beta? And what is feature complete and code complete? So it's really important to learn those things, and like Farhan said, be really clear. It makes everything else a lot easier, doesn't it? Great job. Great job, Sadiq.
Actually, this is something very interesting, because in this because prototyping, it is clear, right? You need to deliver a prototype. It is your concrete deliverable. But in the 1 month of MVP, we still make sure that everyone is delivering something in the weekly sprint meetings, so that they can first deliver something to the hypothetical project manager, right? Okay, this is the deliverable of this week. Even though we have 3 weeks left, we still finish that part, that I can show it to you today. I think this is also important because you have to also satisfy non-developers or managers or clients up to some level. Otherwise, they will be worried about your progress, and you need to show something. And this will give you enough chance to get feedback from them, right? That's also important, because maybe it will change a little bit the direction of the project according to your deliverable. So thank you very much, Sadiq, for your time. I will invite to the stage the skyboarding team for the last bits of feedback. So by the way, everyone here in this stream is also, we are working on their career services and career support, and starting also job hunting and preparing the portfolio, because this is also as important as gaining skills. So I just want to make sure that like anyone interested to talk with our students and invite them to their company project, I'm sure they will be delighted to talk further about these opportunities. So skyboarding team, Joseph, Alvin, Emma, from the skyboarding deck, anything that you would like to add? I also would like to make sure that our experts are giving feedback. While you are preparing your final feedback, I also would like to introduce Ben. Ben, hello. Ben is our trainer that our team is working for the last 4 months. We have, of course, a trainer pool, mentors as well. But I just want to make sure that like Ben maybe say a few words before we finish today, because he spent a lot of time with us, with the students, and I want to make sure that if he has something to say. We cannot hear you right now. Hello? Okay, while you are fixing the sound issue, let's continue the skyboarding, and let's have the final words from Ben afterwards.
Notes from the experts, or any final thoughts from us, since we kind of that.
Yeah, so would you like to say anything that is missing, or you forget to say during your MVP, skyboarding MVP pitch?
Yeah, because we only got about halfway through it, since we had to kind of cut off for time. So I'll just try to give a concise bit of it, and basically one of the main things that we had problems with in terms of our project that we were really working out was like the multiplayer, which I had mentioned before. Like you were saying before, that is just a daunting task, and you got to keep that in mind with everything that you're doing from the get-go. And if it's not working out, it's not working out. That's with any feature. That was something that we definitely learned about. We just needed to cut it out sooner, honestly. The AI for the objects, like just getting basic movements out of things, that recognizing when things are in front of it or when things are around it, and getting it to move around. Even that was a challenge, and we're able to try to find something and then work it to our needs is another daunting task. The board controls themselves being such a kind of unique movement, and a way of going about that movement was a challenge in that sense that Emma was definitely taking on, in terms of, does it feel right? Does it make you nauseous? Does it actually respond well, and stuff like that? And then just overall game management, which, you just want to have some points, and you want to have some health and whatever else. That's fine, right? That's not going to take long, or whatever else. Well, when you start putting it all together, it can take some time. and then also making sure that the UI, especially in a VR and XR setting, which is, like you're saying, still very new, trying to make that intuitive and useful to the user without annoying them or, again, inducing any motion sickness and stuff like that. So those were kind of the main challenges we worked out. So
perfect. Anything to add, Emma, Alvin, on your side before we move to the expert feedback?
From my end, it was really just, I was one, Joseph had said, I was the one working on multiplayer, and I just didn't realize how of a daunting task it was, using the Fusion framework. Part of that reason was because the Fusion framework was also brand new and there wasn't much documentation on it. So just trying to figure everything out, piece things together, just using the demo stuff and trying to figure out how other developers had used it was it is very time consuming. It is just that one of those things that where you just need to be able to track so many different pieces and just kind of figure out, okay, what is the core of this? The other thing though is that outside of this project, I mean, just on the game itself, things that I've learned were working with Git, because I've never actually worked with Git in a team environment. So doing GitHub, making sure everyone's doing pull requests and creating branches, things like that, making sure everything is done efficiently and merged together was definitely a task because I was the one actually doing all the merging and stuff. We did end up running into a situation where we ended up losing a lot of information. But again, it was a learning experience trying to go back, and put everything back together. Also being able to follow standards and conventions. Anytime you're working on a project, you have to make sure people know, how to do stuff, how, to write code properly, how to format their code properly, because otherwise you'll end up with, crazy changes where one person has code formatted one way, and then all of a sudden another person takes it, looks at it, and then all of a sudden their IDE will reformat it, and you have hundreds of lines of codes just changed, in a commit. And other things was, so modeling was actually something. So the Skyboard itself, Emma actually was the one creating the concept art for it. And from that concept art, I actually took it and put it into Blender and created the 3D model from it. So that was actually a really cool part of it too, just learning the art side of it, and also working with Shader Graph to kind of get the look for the voids. So those were just a few things that I thought were really cool. So it's not just being in Unity. It's really about working together as a team and pulling together all other resources at your disposal.
Yeah, perfect, great. If there's no other comments, let's go back to the experts' feedback. So, what is your feedback about the skyboarding and the team? Mark, Andre, who would like to start? Mark?
Sure. This guy. So yeah, great job on an 80% visual concept, but I think maybe who was it, as Joseph demonstrated with the capsules, building sort of capsule blocky, or what we call gray blocking world. That might have been a better place to start. So your board is a plank. The clouds are, whatever, some sort of cheap effect. So I can recommend, if you guys take a step back from the painting, as they said, right? And then just kind of dumb down the visual part of it until you have, like you had mentioned, the mechanics sorted out. It feels right. I'm not doing too much of this because that's puke-tastic, or I noticed the clouds were really low, so maybe bring them up, like a Mario style. So when you're in the clouds, you're walking on clouds, right? Yep. It grounds the characters, and you need that ground plane for the player not to feel, like they're out of control. But I loved the feel of using the head gyration to control the player movement. I thought it was cool. Just the description slide in your pitch presentation, where you were describing objectives and mechanics, it felt like Sonic to me before I'd even seen it. And so when I saw it, it kind of prejudiced how I thought about it. It's super cool. It's basically catch the rings, right? Instead they're voids. And I love that name, by the way. It's very, I don't know, Jersey, New York. The fact that you guys got multiple, did you successfully get multiple hardware flavors?
Multiple players
target and publish, right?
Say again?
You were using Oculus and...
It was oh yeah, I was on a Valve Index, and the other two were
Right.
on the Oculus, and so we were using the Open XR platform with this new interaction system to be able to provide that cross play compatibility with our two platforms, so we both had the same kind of interaction. And we actually did start with like the prototyping with just a basic board and just trying to grab some objects and stuff.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
And yeah, just getting that working.
Evolved
And then
it
like
from
in
there.
the last
Okay.
yeah, and then like in the last 2 weeks, we just wanted to make it look as nice as possible was really what we went for.
Yeah. You do as much polish as you can. Totally. It totally worked. The process, it's clear that the process worked. And I noted right here, there were a lot of learnings about development, operations, and management, weren't there? Beyond just teamwork and a unified vision and that kind of stuff. But you still pulled it off, which is, to me, impressive because it's the whole, it seemed like it was the whole package. Maybe a little bit more work on audio. But clearly there were some lessons about source control, release management, shaders. That's the deep end of the pool. Shader graph is fun though, right? And lots of pipelines and tool considerations. So yeah, when you go to the size of a team, pretty much any size of team, which is the weird part, even 2 or 3 people, you all of a sudden have to think about all of that. So good on you for getting it done. I've lost a lot of source code too, Alwyn, from dumb moves in GitHub. So great job.
How about you, Andre?
Well, on the technical side, I have nothing to add. Mark nailed it. On the interaction side, it's so for me, all board games, when you either do snowboard or ski in VR, it's super challenging. I don't recall the term, but connecting the body with visuals, it's like I wonder how many times you fall off your playground, because that would be a challenge. I tried first time like in 2017 probably, the snowboarding game, and I was holding the chair, and the person next to me was holding my shoulder to prevent me falling over. So, and then the interactivity when you like moving the head, it's quite old way to interact since Gear VR probably. It would be interesting to see how you actually did it in VR, because based on video, and this is very challenging to demonstrate on the video, what was the actual interactivity. In general, like you stay on the ground and objects fly toward you. I think you also managed to play with, or I mean, you flying towards those objects.
Just to clarify then, just to make sure that the idea is that you're on the board and you have full control over this board in a full 3D space. You are flying through the sky. The idea is that you are in the sky. The cloud cover, which Mark had mentioned, was just the idea that this is like the cloud cover giving you, a baseline, a sort of horizon. But the idea is that you can still fly in any direction to basically, in this level, almost pretty much any altitude. And the idea is that you would actually have these objects like maybe hidden different places and such like that. You actually have to fly around and find them. And then in terms of the interaction, the pitch was judged by the head position back and forth. The roll was judged by the position of the head back and forth. And then in terms of the yaw, which is the actual turning, that was based on controls along with the buttons for the triggers for speed, so you could speed up and slow down. And then you basically would just go fly around, get to the voids, and when you get within range, the Ray Interactive would tell you could actually go out and grab them, and then bring them back to the goal to get to deposit the points, basically. So that was the overall loop there, and the interaction based on that, and the board itself based on raycasts and velocity changes.
Okay, because for me, I did skydiving once,
and it's super difficult to orient yourself in the space when all the relative objects are so far from you and you just don't realize what is that. So probably the idea of having clouds like the fog or some particles in space that help like to understand what is the speed, what is my orientation. I don't know actually.
Points of reference, visually, points of reference.
Yeah.
You could, yeah, that's a great idea, Andre. So to play on that, if there's a particle over here, I'm not just going to move my head this way to look at it. I'm going to tilt it or move it down toward that particle. If that were responding to my head movement, your current mechanic, it would kind of guide me to that light or that blinking thing over there, and that might help. And then you could even possibly combine that with a tween that brings the particle into you, so that you don't have to strain so much to get over there. You know what I mean? Because that's what makes people fall over. It's your internal gyroscope going, what, too far? There's a tipping point.
One comment here. Like when you learn snowboarding or longboarding, you usually been taught to not to try to lean into one direction and just move your shoulders, and actually orientation, and also the gaze defines, like if you do motorcycling, they also taught like to see where you're going, and this is the way how body will bring you. So exactly, like evaluate this based on video is almost impossible, but the challenge is almost insurmountable in 4 weeks time. So I really want to praise the team effort that they took on that challenge. I don't know if you realized what are you taking on.
Yeah,
if you can,
Emma definitely did when she started it, and then when we got on board, we were like, okay, yep, we got some work to do now. We talked about some different.
Once you start touching, my warning light goes on when you start touching quaternions. When you start thinking about messing with quaternions, you should think again. Exactly. There might be a simpler, easier way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have an advanced class that starts with that. It is not a pleasant start for that class, but I mean, in order to really achieve, you need to a little bit bite your tongue, you know, like that's the most important part. Otherwise, it's not easy to achieve. Thanks for all this feedback. I think we are really coming to a very over time already. So any last comments? I mean, I will give the stage to Ben. Maybe if your mic is working.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, perfect.
You can hear me. Okay. Yeah, I just want to say how proud I am of every student that was on this cohort. I mean, you've all learned so much. You've really come into your own as developers, especially coming from a point of, you know, little to no Unity experience, little to no C# experience. Some of you have made multiplayer games, and you've made like this complete MVP now. And I just want to say that I'm really proud of all of you and the amount of dedication and work that you've put in to get this far. And I can see that you're really going places now. So I'm really happy.
Okay.
Perfect. Yeah.
Hats off.
Yeah, let's congratulate everyone. Andre, one last question to you. You mentioned that it will be great to have a cycle of build the 3D scene, explain the suggested interactivity, and then demonstrate the end result. So basically, in every prototype, and of course, weekly sprints of MVP, first, after they decide on the use case, first they are pitching the scope and the design use case idea. We also talk about Shapes XR as well. Maybe if they have time, they would definitely use that more. What do you think? Like, do you think that this kind of cycle can fast track, or do you think for the industry, I'm not talking about us or this, but for the industry, how you are seeing this iteration or this kind of like a different use case creation engines, that we can create as a pipeline, how can affect the industry, just to understand better how we can improve this process?
I think like what I really I wonder what the teams think about it. Like
how much time did spend on scoping things in general, because what kind of visual tools they used to interact with each other. Because the reason I bring up Shapes XR is that you can define your scene in very simple gray primitives. Go like through different stages of evolution of that scene. What is the starting point? What is the milestones? And then what is the end point?
Like a storyboard
of this? Yeah, like a storyboard, but in VR. And having this collaboratively would help probably to define what is exactly the interaction we are building, and then implement this collaboratively, like split the tasks and implement it already in Unity, or even export the scene to Unity. I don't know to what extent Shapes XR now supports direct export, but this is something to explore.
Yeah, they just started actually. We will definitely try in the next cohort. I think definitely this is possible. The only thing is, since you have only 1 week, and we are literally defining the use cases literally 1 day before the scoping pitch day.
Yeah.
So they literally have only 24 hours to come up with a design concept. But this doesn't mean that they cannot improve the design concept and then build everything on Unity. So I don't know if anyone has any comment on this.
It's very easy to list what you want to build in the bullet points.
Yeah.
When you try to add those simple primitives in gray boxes in the actual scene being in VR, you might reduce like 80% of the scope from the first iteration already.
Yeah, true.
Like, okay, we don't do leaves on trees. Just put the branches and that's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
That sort of decision making is quite easy to feel when you put objects, because typing is really easy. Like list things, I can list a lot of things, but then implementation will take more time. Yeah, Emma.
Yeah, so like what Ferhan said, 24 hours is just not a lot of time to even, going to Shapes XR and doing stuff can sometimes feel like a bit of a hassle, I guess. Even if it might turn out better to do it that way, there's just that kind of resistance, I think would be a good way to put it. So like personally, I just pull up MS Paint all the time and I draw diagrams, and then I go into Unity and test it out in VR directly.
Okay.
But we did try Shapes XR before the prototyping section actually, and it was very nice, especially to have other people in the same space looking at the same thing. So if there's some way to implement that, it would be good.
Yeah, there was Devori on my side for this Valve Index, and a number of my projects, when I pitched about what the tech stack would be, I wanted to use Devori for that purpose in terms of kind of like building out a simple scene and whatever else and stuff. But I ended up not actually using it because it's like I could just go into Unity and go ahead and make the scene and go ahead and start interacting with the stuff. If I did it in Devori, I'd have to worry about bringing it over and whatever else and stuff.
Yeah.
So why I like the idea of the tool, I just felt, I think, kind of like what Emma was trying to get at, is like it might just feel like a waste of time in a sense. It's like, yeah, it's nice, but is it going to save me time, or is it just going to be one extra step that I really don't need?
I mean,
so
yeah, okay.
If there's a really one-to-one export, I think it can be worth it. So you can easily interact with that. But I can also understand that if you want to build immediately on Unity, you will immediately face with the limitations, right? All the limitations that you may face with, because storyboarding means you are only capturing the scenes, or as Richard mentioned, 3D world shots, right? He was mentioning.
Yeah.
So we really want to also make sure that they immediately interact, because this is really also not only like gaining experience, but competing with time, and understand that you need to remove some of the stuff, right? So that's the most important part.
Yeah.
That we want to also gain as a notion of XR prototyping. So we need to really close right now because it's already over time. thank you, everyone. I mean, first, our, of course, trainers, mentors, like there are many mentors work on this, like at least as far as I know, six mentors and trainers work on this project, the bootcamp, to make it realized on the backend side. And then, of course, work with the mentors, with the students and with the project teams. So I would like to thank everyone, including Ben, Roger, Ayhan, Diego, all the team members, Dennis. So thanks all XR Bootcamp trainers and mentors, and of course our students, Emma, Alvin, Joseph, Thomas, Sadik. We really would like to see more and more. And as you see, we have 2 cohorts per year at least, and we want to make sure that we are creating a lot of like projects like that. And of course, Mark, Andre, and Joe also joined us. So thanks for joining. I mean, it was really overtime. I hope that you enjoyed your time, and thanks for taking your time. It is very valuable feedback. You cannot imagine for us, and I hope that our students also enjoyed the feedback.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you very
Look
much.
forward to the further sessions.
As you know, we are part of the Global XR conference. So the conference is continuing 2 more days. So feel free to join other interesting sessions as well. And join us on Discord. We will also share the Discord server of XR creators. So you can ask questions or meet the graduates there. And even become part of the free coding course we mentioned in the beginning. So let's learn together. There is no better time to start into XR, guys. I think this is the moment that you need to take a proactive step and start learning. It doesn't matter through XR Bootcamp or YouTube or Udemy. There are a lot of sources there. I mean, maybe it will take more time for you, but start from somewhere. It is the most important part. And we are here to support you, your career, your journey, your upskilling path. So thanks for joining again, all the audience as well, listening to this long session. And I hope to see you in the next events. And feel free to also watch our YouTube videos, that there are these kind of streams that we did with many companies, many leaders. So you can also get inspired from them as well. So thanks for today, and have a very nice week ahead and New Year. I hope that 2022 will be much, much better for the XR industry and XR creators. Thank you.
Thanks, Farhan. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.